Bonjour à tous, c'est Evernoob. Alors j'ai passé la discussion avec Hades et on va directement à la suite. L'objectif c'est de réussir à prendre la couronne et partir en courant. J'ai sauvegardé, donc on devrait avoir des chances de réussir.
He shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Ah mais je suis déjà à moitié mort là. Oh mais la blase. Oh la blase. Oh ça va être chiant. Aïe 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 aïe. Ah je le sens pas. Voilà, alors là par exemple, elle m'a eu à travers le mur. À travers le mur. Ok, parfait. Non, ça c'est pas ouf ça. D'avoir raté la tyrolienne. Mais bon, c'est avec le thème général de moi qui rate mes trucs. Hein. Ok, donc je suis juste là. Ok, donc j'ai la couronne de Perséphone, ce qui devrait probablement changer l'issue de la discussion avec Hadès. On va retourner lui rendre visite. Et je pense que je peux y aller directement en fait. J'ai pas le temps, Galerius. On retourne au temple. J'ai pas à récupérer les plaques, hein. Hein? Je peux passer là-bas, je pense, hein. Non. Ok, bon, j'ai clairement pris le mauvais chemin. Je vais aller voir la soigneuse. Et après, je vais retourner voir le dieu. Pour essayer d'avoir ce halo rouge dégoûtant un peu partout.
What are you doing? She what? You hope that a what? That you and in the meantime.
Ok. Je souffre, ils vont me soigner.
Oh,
je m'en vais. Désolé, je dois aller parler au dieu de la mort maintenant. Alors, est-ce que le fait de récupérer la couronne de Perséphone, c'est la seule chose qui est faisable ou est-ce qu'on peut le convaincre? Je sais pas si on peut convaincre Hadès en fait. Je me pose vraiment la question parce que... L'obélisque il brille, non je crois. On devrait pouvoir rentrer directement dans le temple. Là. Parfait, on y retourne. Ah non, les temples sont de plus en plus vieux, pas de plus en plus récents. J'ai dit n'importe quoi la dernière fois. Ok. C'est parti. J'ai sa couronne, j'espère. Couronne de Proserpine. Ok, je l'ai. Petite sauvegarde. Là, je vais pas me priver. Nous nous sommes déjà vus. Vous voyez, c'est la couronne de Proserpine.
I would recognize that anywhere, and yet my beloved still wears hers. What is this? How did you come by it?
Je l'ai prise après l'avoir tuée dans une autre boucle temporelle.
You vile, despicable creature. Why would you do such a thing? And worse still, boast about it.
Je ne voulais pas la tuer, mais si vous n'abolissez pas la règle d'or, je recommencerai. Chantage avec le dieu de la mort, bonne idée.
You have put me in an impossible position. If I refuse, you will murder her. And yet, if I agree, I will lose my wager and return to Elysium humiliated and alone.
C'est l'idée.
Perhaps you are cleverer than you appear, mortal. I do not see that I have a choice in this. Your treachery and savagery have opened my eyes like nothing I have witnessed in 3,000 years. And now you have shown me your species' true colors. And I see that Proserpina was a fool to have ever believed in you at all. This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
Pourquoi ne pouvons-nous pas aller à l'Élysée?
Because despicable creatures like you have no place there. My kin would never allow it. The best I can do is return you to the land of the living. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
Pourquoi?
Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready?
Finissons-en.
You had best pray our paths never cross again, mortal.
Alworth, donc le gars du tout début.
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al.
Alworth, je suis ici pour vous.
Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Je m'appelle Evernoob, j'espérais que vous sauriez qui je suis.
Know who you are. I barely remember how I got here myself. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and went around solving the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, and so on. Then, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience, and the doors just opened up to her. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
Ça m'a l'air un peu tiré par les cheveux.
I don't know, it reads like an earnest account to me. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
Je suis juste derrière vous. Est-ce que je vais revoir Karen du coup? Je reconnais pas l'endroit. Hein. C'est parce que l'eau a monté. Pourquoi il ferme le temple?
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple.
Mais personne fait ça.
You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
Genre moi je vais coller des vieilles planches sur la porte du temple. Al, réfléchis. Où est-ce que tu as eu ton diplôme d'archéologie, Al? Je prends mon temps, je sprinte pas. Dernière petite promenade dans l'univers du jeu. Mais c'est Caron.
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al?
Je l'ai trouvé, il sera bientôt là.
Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
J'ai découvert que vous aviez menti sur votre identité. Je me souviens avoir fait votre rencontre il y a 2000 ans.
I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions.
Alors, Caron, fais très attention, je crois que tu as des orbes enflammés dans les yeux. J'ai peur pour la douleur. Qui êtes-vous vraiment?
You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time.
Quelle est cette vérité?
That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
Comment ai-je péri?
Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know?
Oui, je veux savoir.
As you wish. You were murdered. You were exploring an old tomb when you discovered a cache of forgotten relics, including 2 silver coins of ancient origin. Unfortunately, as you emerged into daylight, you were set upon by 2 thieves. A nearby hiker saw the scuffle break out and leapt to your aid, trying to help you recover your bounty. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not. There was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and you followed a few hours later. That man's name was Al Worth. You were each in possession of a sacred coin, called Charon's opal by some, and so it was my duty to bring you here.
En quoi ces pièces sont-elles spéciales?
Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans burying their dead with a coin in their mouths, to pay the ferryman for passage across the river. Well, those stories contained a seed of truth, but not any coin would do. A long time ago, my master created 1,000 silver coins and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin, I was to locate them and ferry them here.
Pourquoi?
That is a question you would have to ask him, if that were still possible, in light of the path you have chosen. I am just his servant, doing his bidding. Only now, I find myself bereft of purpose. You see, the coins on you and Al were the last of the 1,000 in existence. There is nobody else to ferry here, nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course.
Vous nous renvoyez dans le monde des vivants?
I see no point in keeping you here, but I have to ask one thing, that you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story, and I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
Bien, Caron, ramenez-moi à la maison. One year later. Ancient Rome, Ancient Greek, Ancient Egypt, summer.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
C'est un des mecs, non? Donc j'imagine qu'ils sont tous là. Oui, c'est ça, ça va être tous les visiteurs, j'imagine. C'était Decius? Non, je ne me souviens plus de son nom.
Oh, hello.
You're finally here. Remember me?
Hilarius, que faites-vous ici?
Crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life.
Vous êtes avec Wittia maintenant?
I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're going to be around, we'd love to see you there.
Ça super, je suis partant. Que devenez-vous ces temps-ci?
I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Of
Ça fait plaisir de
course,
vous revoir,
there's a whole
Galerius.
museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you'd better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you.
Oui, vu que je n'aurais pas parlé dans le dernier cycle,
So, you're the hero who
il y en a
somehow
plein qui me connaissent. Il n'y a
vanquished
que
the
Galerius
last
du
of
coup
the
qui j'ai
Roman
parlé dans le
gods.
tout dernier cycle.
As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable.
Comment va Livia?
Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself.
D'accord, je vais faire ça. Que devenez-vous?
Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside, with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us. See you at the wedding, I hope.
Hello, I'm Dooley.
Je me souviens qui vous êtes,
Galerius
Dooley.
said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it.
Qu'est-ce que vous devenez
I
ces
live
temps-ci?
at Galerius and Equitia's house. They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth.
Si vous n'avez jamais trouvé votre trésor.
Oh, I forgot about that. I like my box now. Galerius got me a box that tells stories. It's my favourite thing.
Les boîtes à histoire sont chouettes, pas vrai?
They're fun.
C'est un plaisir de vous revoir. Ah, mais du coup, il y a peut-être aussi... il va être vers la fin, j'imagine. C'est Servius, enfin... Servius, le... Horatius.
Hi there, I'm Horatius.
Bonjour Horatius.
I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life, and reuniting Centilla with us as well. So, thank you.
Que devenez-vous ces temps-ci?
I'm living up north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot, but some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca. Still, I have to keep challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides.
C'est triste que vous n'ayez jamais pu revoir votre
You
fille.
remembered that. Thank you. I grieved for a time, but that's done. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind them they are mortal, remind yourself your precious one isn't one of your possessions, but something given for now, not forever.
Bien dit.
Thanks. Oh, and I don't know if you've heard, but a few of us are going for drinks later. It'd be nice to chat with you some more.
D'accord, je viendrai. Qu'est-ce qu'il est devenu votre ami Domitus?
He's not my... Oh, I see what you did there. Good one. He had more trouble adapting than most. He got himself disqualified from the UFC. So he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament, like we had in Rome. Suppose it appealed to people's baser instincts. And they say he made some good coin, killing a bunch of men like that. But his luck finally ran out, and his life along with it. You know what they say.
C'est vrai quel dommage.
Perhaps.
C'est un plaisir de
See
vous
you at
revoir.
drinks later.
Hey,
Cynthia, Julia, Lucretia. il y en a encore beaucoup.
Hello.
Je vais passer les dialogues un peu plus vite, hein, du coup.
You're
Je vous laisserai faire la lecture si vous voulez.
the Oracle, right?
Evernoob va bien.
Oh, of course. Sorry. And of course, getting me and all of it.
Que devenez-vous ces temps-ci?
Oh, I barely recognize. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And eventually I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course.
Voir le monde sous un nouveau jour est merveilleux.
I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are.
Qu'est-il advenu de Malleolus et Claudia?
Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blow after the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me. I can't help.
Je pense que vous avez le droit de ressentir ça.
Thank you. You're very...
Qu'est-il advenu d'Aurélia?
Ugh. Someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince. Even in your time, life still is... Apparently he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket. Nigeria? Some people have all the luck.
Ne vous en faites pas. Mon petit doigt me dit qu'elle va recevoir la monnaie de sa pièce.
Well, you are the Oracle. Huh. I feel better already. Thank you. You too. If you're ever in London, let me know.
Je n'y manquerai
I
pas.
hope so.
Long time no see.
Salut Lucretia.
Lucy is fine. I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off.
Que devenez-vous ces
I'm
temps-ci?
studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saying.
C'est un plaisir de vous revoir. Georgius et le philosophe ermite. Ah, qui regarde son tonneau.
Greetings. You must be the legendary Oracle.
C'est moi.
It is a sincere privilege to finally make your acquaintance.
C'est un plaisir de vous voir également,
I
Georgius.
am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that I am most grateful.
Que devenez-vous ces temps-ci?
I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last... Perhaps one day, once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god.
J'y serai. Qu'est-il arrivé à Fabia? Fabia. Ah oui, celle qui se cachait du meurtrier.
Ah, the poor sweet thing. Perished in a shrine collapse before the rest of us were saved. It is the one regret I have in all this.
Ah, c'est dommage. Ah bah j'aurais pu la sauver, elle, du coup. Si j'avais demandé de... Enfin bah, voilà. C'est un plaisir de vous revoir, Georgius.
I take it you're the oracle everybody's talking about.
Nous sommes déjà rencontrés, même si je ne pense pas que vous vous en
We
souvenez.
have. I'm sorry, I don't remember. In any case, I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now and it seems I have your catabasis to thank for it.
Que donnez-vous ces
I'm
temps-ci?
working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but
C'est un plaisir
my
de vous
sincere
revoir.
thanks.
Octavia.
Some soiree, innit?
Please keep off the furniture.
Ah, hello at last. You must be the oracle I've heard so much about.
Bonjour Decius.
I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able to sell all those useless old... Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you.
Évidemment.
Most gracious of you.
Que devenez-vous ces
I
temps-ci?
took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market. That's where the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice.
On remarque quand même qu'il a une force dans le bras pour s'appuyer sur le vide comme ça, c'est assez impressionnant.
Which stocks I should invest in next? I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling and arms. What would you recommend?
Je ne vous donnerais pas même si je
Oh,
pouvais.
don't be like that. You can tell your old pal Dacius.
Oui, donc t'as moyen de le... Les imprimés vont faire leur grand retour.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can tonight. I'm gonna make a bloody fortune. Of course, don't let me keep you.
Livia, ah, la prophétesse.
Greetings.
Ah, celle qui savait qu'on vivait en enfer. C'est un plaisir de vous voir en forme, Livia.
Thank you for your kind words and for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never...
Que devenez-vous ces temps-ci?
I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while. At least...
Vous avez lu de bons poèmes dernièrement?
Ah, you remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid. I'm already up to the 19th century, and am quite enjoying the work. Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is...
Bien dit. C'est un plaisir de vous revoir, Livia. Octavia. Elle va peut-être me dire ce qui est devenu son père aussi. Il est peut-être vivant en fait. Hein.
It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Ah mais non, c'est la chrétienne. C'est un plaisir de vous voir également, Octavia.
I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than... But thank you for coming and for saving our lives.
Que devenez-vous ces temps-ci?
I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber. Not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counsellor. After we lost Ulpius, I spent a lot of time reflecting on what I could have done differently. I couldn't shake the feeling that if I'd just found the right words, he'd still be with us.
Ouais, en fait, il y en a plein que j'aurais pu sauver, quoi. Enfin, au moins Ulpius et... Julia, du coup, également doit être morte. On l'a vu, Julia? Je sais plus. Ce n'est pas votre faute.
So I'm told, and you.
Ouais, rien que pour ça, c'est un peu dommage. Mais bon, c'est ma faute.
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle.
Merci, Kabash.
You know my name? Oh, of course. You are an Oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from...
Que devenez-vous ces
For a
temps-ci?
time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman. And instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me.
Vous avez l'air de l'avoir mérité.
Indeed.
C'est un plaisir de vous revoir, Kabash.
It's so nice to finally meet you.
C'est un plaisir de vous voir, Virgile.
I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there.
Que devenez-vous ces
I'm
temps-ci?
studying to be an architect again and living in a beautiful flat in Rotterdam, just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are.
C'est un plaisir de vous revoir. Je m'en souviendrai. Invitation de Virgile, invitation de tout le monde.
Hello there.
Bonjour, Sentilla.
Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name.
Quel
you
monstre?
didn't hear. My adoptive father, Sentius, locked me
Ah, mais
after
si, je
he
savais.
drove Pluto
Quel
off.
monstre, c'est d'ailleurs un peu...
Serpina came and released me, and that monster...
Il semblerait qu'il ait eu ce qu'il méritait. Que donnez-vous ces
I'm
temps-ci?
living by myself on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's something Ulpius and I used to talk about doing when we got out. And I thought that's what he would. But it's been hard. Oh, it's hardly your fault. I'll be alright. In time. Thanks.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
Je reconnais cette voix.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention.
C'est à moi que vous m'envoyez ces mots durant tout ce temps?
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues, and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
Vous avez fait très bien. Okay. Vous avez créé la boucle temporelle?
I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather as many, so I whispered to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power, and so I put a safeguard in place. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help. What I did not anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day. And as a veteran soldier, he had long since shed his... He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him. And there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along. And we were all fortunate you came along when you did. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way. Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into it. And you. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues?
Bien sûr.
Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
Fin numéro 4 sur 4. Donc il y en a d'autres. Bon, et bah c'était très sympa. J'ai un peu de regret de ne pas avoir parlé à Galerius sur la dernière section pour pouvoir sauver tout le monde. Bon, c'est comme ça, j'aime bien que l'histoire reste canon. C'est la façon dont je l'ai joué, c'est la façon dont je le ferai. Pour un jeu fait par une petite équipe, il est super bien fait. Il est super bien fait, l'univers est assez petit pour être maîtrisé, il n'y a pas trop de personnages. Au début c'est un peu le chaos, on passe son temps à parler à tout le monde, c'est de toute façon un jeu très très bavard. Mais c'était sympa, petit jeu d'enquête, il y a... C'est pas un walking sim, mais on n'est pas si loin dans le sens où on a autant de chance qu'on veut, on a le temps de recommencer les choses, mais du coup il met pas la pression. Je recommande même si le jeu est très très lié à l'histoire, ceux qui ont envie de l'essayer. Voilà, ça met un terme à nos aventures. Merci à tous d'avoir suivi cet épisode, et on se retrouve la prochaine fois sur un autre jeu. Salut salut!